death.
Welcome back, guys, to another Clash Royale video, and today we're going to be taking a look at some log decks. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the log yet myself, so I've asked my clan members to share some replays using the log. In this battle here, on the bottom from my clan, we have Moberg facing off against the Cans in the top there, and this is actually in a tournament that Moberg actually participated in recently. Now, he's using a Hog Rider log deck, going in here on the right-hand side with a quick Hog Fire Spirit push. Fire Spirit doing some quick damage to the mini P.E.K.K.A. and also getting some splash damage into the tower, and in the end bringing that tower down to 1500 health. Now right here, log going down, pushing back the mini P.E.K.K.A. as well as the Hog Rider, giving the goblins in the tower enough time to finish off that mini P.E.K.K.A. and in the end not taking too much damage to the tower. Mini P.E.K.K.A. going back here, getting a couple hits off, bringing that tower down to 860 health. So we're less than a minute into this battle, and Moberg already has a huge damage lead so far. Now right here, he's going to sit back and keep the reflexes on those fingers busy, tapping between the Inferno Tower as well as the Hog Rider. And once he hits 10 Elixir, he's probably going to do another Hog Rider push on the right hand side with the Fire Spirits. Now the Can's going to go ahead here. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have the ideal counter, and as a result, he has to use the Princess as well as the Musketeer. But Moberg able to take that tower out with that one quick Hog Rider push. Now right here, he's going to wait for the Musketeer as well as the Princess to walk into range and then drop the Valkyrie directly on top of them, taking both of them out for a 4 Elixir card. And right here, Goblin's going down to distract the minion horde with the Zap spell to stun them, and in the end doesn't take any damage to his tower, so once again he has a huge damage lead. Now take a look at what happens right here. He's going to go in with a Hog Rider and watch what the mini P.E.K.K.A. does. Now I thought the mini P.E.K.K.A. was a melee unit, but take a look at this. One hit by the mini P.E.K.K.A. and then she waits like 2 seconds and then does another hit once the Hog Rider has already made it to the tower. And I'll go ahead and put a slow motion replay of what just happened on the left hand side of the screen. Now right here, Valkyrie going up there, Princess targeting her with the Musketeer. Moberg already has the 1 crown lead so far in this battle, so all he really has to do is defend for the next 50 seconds or so, and he should be able to get the victory. Inferno Tower distracting the Hog Rider, mini P.E.K.K.A. going down to take out the Musketeer, and then take out the Princess. Now, unfortunately, the Cans is a little bit too late with those goblins to protect his Princess, but he does manage to take out the mini P.E.K.K.A. And right here, Mo is going to go in with yet another Hog Rider push. Now, for some reason, the Cans drops down a minion horde to counter against a Hog Rider Fire Spirit push. Huge mistake right there, because the Fire Spirits took out the minion horde pretty quickly, and in the end, Moberg was able to bring that tower all the way down to 2000 health. So once again, using that Inferno Tower, distracting the Hog Rider, and with 19 seconds left, there's no chance that his opponent can come back from this, so it's looking like Moberg will get the 1 crown victory. Another Hog Rider push going in here, mini P.E.K.K.A. in there, taking some damage. Hog Rider does make it to the tower, getting 1 hit off, but with only 6 seconds left, it's not enough time to give him the 2 crown victory, so he has to settle for the 1 crown. Let's go ahead here to the next replay. So here we are, guys, on the bottom from my clan, we have Sleazy Easy facing off inside the Legendary Arena. And the reason I want to show you this replay is it illustrates one of the best uses right now for the log in this game, and that is to counter the Princess. The log is the perfect Princess counter, and speaking from experience here, being somebody that uses the Princess in a variety of decks, whenever I face somebody that's using the log, it's actually really annoying, because I pretty much can't use my Princess throughout the entire battle, because every time I do, they had that log ready to take her out. And the thing is, every time you trade a Princess for a log, you're giving your opponent a 1 Elixir advantage, because the log only costs 2 Elixir, whereas the Princess costs 3, and if they manage to hit other troops or your tower in the process, then that's just a bonus. But so far in this battle, nothing too crazy has happened. His opponent did go in there with the Royal Giant early on, getting some quick chip damage, but nothing too crazy because his tower is still over 2000 health. By the way, guys, if you want to join my clan, I will put some information here on the screen. The clan's name is Raw with a / and a 7 spelling the R, and we're looking for people inside the Legendary Arena, preferably over 3100 trophies, and because we are a trophy pushing clan, trying to get as high as we can on the leaderboards. But if that interests you, definitely apply for the clan. And we also have a couple of feeders. I'll put the information to those as well on the screen. So if you don't have 3100 trophies, but you want to be a part of the clan, go ahead and check out one of the feeders as well. Like I said, I'll put the information on the screen. But enough of that stuff. Let's start taking a look at this battle here. Sleazy was able to go in there and get some quick chip damage onto the tower, bringing it down to 2300 health. But he's going to pull back here, go ahead and place down the pump in the middle of his base, because he is facing somebody using the miner, so he wants to place the pump in the middle there, so that both towers will be able to target the miner. Now right here, Archer's distracting the miner, and as a result, the miner only gets one hit on that pump, so definitely not too bad. And he also has an Archer as well as an Ice Wizard going back on a counter push right here. Now Sleazy's going to sit back here. We are about to hit the double elixir period. His opponent coming in with a level 10 Royal Giant. Down go the Barbarians. Now the Barbarians are a great counter to the Royal Giant, but unfortunately his opponent does have the Fireball ready, which does knock them back, allowing the Royal Giant more time to get some damage into the tower. But right here, Log going in there, taking out the Princess. Royal Giant getting a couple hits on the tower, bring it down to 1300 health. Mini P.E.K.K.A dying before he makes it to the tower. And right here, Sleazy going to start setting up another push with the Ice Wizard as well as the Archers. Then down goes the Royal Giant up front, and as you can see, he does have the Log ready. Unfortunately, right here, his opponent was a bit too early with the cannon drop, and as a result, the Royal Giant does outrange it. Ice Wizard damaging those minions, Log going down to finish off this Princess. The tower is distracted by the Royal Giant, so the Barbarian's able to go in there and do some damage to that tower, bring it down to 0 health, giving Sleazy the 1 crown lead. And with 10 seconds left, his opponent has no chance of coming back. So right here, Miner going in there, but unfortunately only 5 seconds left right here, so he just does not have enough time. Let's go ahead here to the next replay. So here we are, guys. On the bottom, we have Dr. Drew as a level 10 facing off against a level 12 inside the Legendary Arena. So a huge uphill battle right here. Now his opponent is actually using the Giant Guards poison strategy, which we all know is extremely popular right now, but the Log is actually a great counter to the Guards because it's able to knock off their shield in one hit, whereas something like the Zap is not able to, and that makes a huge difference because that means a total of 3 hits to take out all the Guards versus the typical 6 or even more if there is such a huge level difference like there is in this battle right here. Now, Giant going in there, but the Inferno Tower does target it, but unfortunately with the Poison Spell down, the Inferno Tower doesn't charge up fast enough to do any damage, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A Ice Wizard combo there doing great work, slowing down the Giant, allowing the Mini P.E.K.K.A to take it out before it even makes it to the tower. And right here, Miner going in there to tank for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A making his way to the tower, getting 2 hits off, bringing that tower all the way down to 1700 health. So far, we're only a minute into this battle, and Dr. Drew has a huge damage lead over this level 12. Right here, Log going down, pushing back the Wizard, which is actually pretty important, because that Wizard would have went in there and one-shot all those guards, probably allowing the Mini P.E.K.K.A to make it to the tower. But because of the Log knocking back the Wizard, it gave the guards enough time to distract the Mini P.E.K.K.A, finishing it off, and as a result, Drew didn't take any damage to his tower in that push, besides the small amount of chip damage from the Miner. Now right here, Drew doing another push with the Miner as well as the Ice Wizard. Miner going to go back there and target the pump. Now when you're facing somebody using a Giant Poison Guard strategy and they have the pump in their deck, you want to prevent them from getting the pumps down. So as you can see, it's more of a priority getting that Miner in there to do that chip damage to the pump than it is doing the chip damage to the tower, because that way, later on in the double elixir period, the opponent won't have enough elixir to do an aggressive Giant Poison Guards push. Right here, Log coming in clutch once again, killing all those guards and also finishing off the Wizard, and as a result, Drew is able to set up a counter push with the Mini P.E.K.K.A still alive, which is really important. If you guys can, it's really important to save your defensive troops and set up a counter push with them. Now right here, Ice Wizard going down to take out the Wizard. A very interesting poison spell there by his opponent. Now Miner coming in here, but unfortunately at the very last second, the guards go down to distract it, and as a result, Drew takes no damage to his tower, and he is also able to set up a push. Now take a look at this preemptive Log drop right here, damaging those guards with the Zap spell to finish them off, and as a result, his opponent has to scramble here, dropping down the Wizard to distract the Mini P.E.K.K.A, and all of this means his opponent is spending a ton of elixir to defend, and he isn't able to drop down any pumps or able to set up any aggressive Giant pushes. So Drew has a huge lead so far, Inferno Tower taking out that level 9 Giant pretty quickly, and here we are with 6 seconds left, Miner going in there with the poison spell, giving Drew the 1 crown victory. Let's go ahead here to one final replay. So here we are, guys, with another battle from my clan member Moberg in another tournament battle. Now he's using that same Hog Rider Fire Spirits log deck that I showed earlier on. He's going to sit back here and wait to see what his opponent does next. Now unfortunately his opponent is using a Royal Giant Ice Wizard Princess deck. So for those of you who don't like the Royal Giant, you should have some fun watching this battle. Now, unfortunately, Moberg is doing the preemptive Inferno Trap, but he didn't know yet that his opponent is using the Royal Giant, and as a result, the Royal Giant is able to outrange the Inferno Tower, with the log going down there, taking out the Princess, clearing the path for the Mini P.E.K.K.A to get a couple shots on that Royal Giant, but unfortunately he has no elixir left, so he's forced to use his Valkyrie here and just absorb a bunch of damage from that Royal Giant, and in the end, the Royal Giant is able to bring the tower all the way down to 1400 health, but right here, Fire Spirit's coming in clutch, distracting the Mini P.E.K.K.A and also killing it, preventing any further damage to the tower, but his opponent does have a pretty big damage lead with less than a minute into this battle here, so Mo is going to have to make a pretty clutch comeback a little bit later on in this battle. He's going to sit back here and wait and build up the elixir. His opponent going to go ahead and place down a pump in the top right corner. So as soon as the pump goes down, Mo is going to go in with a quick Hog Rider push on the left hand side with a Hog Rider up front as well as some goblins. Now his opponent is going to use the Ice Wizard in a pretty interesting location, but what that actually does is it makes the goblins attack the Ice Wizard first instead of attacking the tower, and he probably absorbed a little bit of damage that would have otherwise went to the tower, but in the end, Mo was able to bring that tower all the way down to 1200 health, so definitely a pretty good push right there. Now his opponent is setting up another Royal Giant push with the Mini P.E.K.K.A in the back. Now Mo is expecting the Royal Giant this time, so he's going to go ahead and wait for the Royal Giant to cross the bridge and then use the Inferno Tower, but unfortunately the Zaspel forcing it to reset its attack timer and targeting, and in the end the Royal Giant is still alive with a good chunk of health left, and as a result the Royal Giant is able to do some decent damage to that tower, bring it down less than 1000 health. Now right here the Valkyrie is still alive, Log going to go down here to take out the Princess, but unfortunately the log was a little bit late, or sorry, the Hog Rider was a little bit early, and as a result the Princess was able to take out all those Fire Spirits that would have otherwise supported the Hog Rider push. Now right here, pretty big counter push coming back at Mo. Mo going to go ahead and use the Inferno Tower once again. This time the Zaspel isn't enough to take it out. The Inferno Tower is able to lock onto the Royal Giant with the Goblin as well as the Valkyrie damaging it, and as a result, the Royal Giant doesn't do any damage to the tower, and Mo also has a pretty successful counter push going on right here with the Valkyrie up front as well as the Hog Rider, and unfortunately his opponent was a little bit hesitant right there, and as a result, Mo gets the 1 crown lead, and with only 20 seconds left, all Mo really has to do is just defend, and he should be able to hold out for the 1 crown lead. Right here, Royal Giant coming in here, but unfortunately, Inferno Tower is down, distracting it. Mini P.E.K.K.A doing some damage, and notice how Mo uses the Valkyrie in the back to distract the enemy's Mini P.E.K.K.A, saving his Mini P.E.K.K.A, allowing it to take out the Royal Giant, preventing any damage to his tower, and in the end, Mo does get the 1 crown victory. Anyways guys, that's the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next video.